Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Dropping Loot, aka the Salt and the Sweetness, aka Steve.
And this is DeeApeEscape, aka D.
And yeah, we're here. We're here representing Noob Alert, and we're doing our first podcast. All we're trying to do is wrap up the week in news. This is hopefully going to be a weekly thing. We're going to wrap up the week in news and try to give you guys our opinions on what's going on in the sweet world of gaming.
So obviously this week has been a huge week in the gaming world with the E3 Expo going on right now for the next couple days. And the big three just wrapped up their press conferences, and we'd like to sum up their events and what went on, and speak a little bit about what's going on with the three.
So I guess we'll start with the first one to go, which was Microsoft.
Yeah,
and if we had to sum up their conference, we'll use the phrase "Let's connect."
Yeah.
I mean, their conference is all about the connect. Probably, honestly, to a fault. Yeah, but that's what they did. So, I guess the big things Microsoft really focused on was their new YouTube service, the Bing search, and voice commands, via Connect, and Xbox TV. I mean, those look like. Wouldn't you agree? Those look like about the four big things they were really pushing as far as changes.
Yeah, I mean, for Connect in the sense that, it's, forget the gaming aspect, Connect for what they envisioned it a while back before even gaming was the picture. You know what I mean? It was like they wanted to make the Xbox the entertainment media focal point of the house. You know what I mean? And the Xbox TV, that's something that's got me interesting because they're going to bring also with it UFC Live. So that's kind of cool because a lot of people, we just do the pay-per-view, UFC, get together and watch it. Now you can maybe do a party vote, party watch or something. Who knows? But I doubt that portion because you got to pay for it, obviously.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're going to try to get like as many broadcasting channels and stations with them, and I'd be interested to see who they get. Because that'll be the big
no
draw.
doubt. Because that's going to be. It's going to be money for each station they need to get. That's going to cost, us the user. I mean, I think they're going to probably offer maybe a free service. That's the most basic, like a few stations. But if you think about it, I mean, if they really want this thing to be huge, successful, and big, and they want people to cancel their cable provider to use Xbox TV, they're going to have different price plans, and they're going to have to try to offer their service cheaper. Depending on what cable providers they have, and
as well as give you channel listings, because you want to pay for something you're going to watch.
Right. Right. But I think it could be good. I mean, it's, I think they've been wanting to do it for a while. I think, now with everybody with high-speed internet connections and how good streaming is at this time, I think
Netflix.
It's...
I mean, look at Netflix. Everybody's got Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix, Hulu Plus. I mean, it's pretty good. It's really good. So, they could get me to cancel my ridiculous, $100 whatever DirecTV bill, for really almost anything. I'm ready to connect. I mean, I'm pretty much using my Xbox as my main hub right now. Anyway. Yeah, I'm ready. But we look at the other things. YouTube, nothing new. Bing search the system.
No brainer on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it could be kind of cool. I mean, from what they were showing in the video, you just talk and it automatically searches for what you're saying. So if you say like search whatever this movie, they'll see if they have it on their service and if you can rent it. So it could be cool. I don't know. I have to.
Time
I
will
guess
tell.
after this, after this presentation, man, I'm going to have to frickin' buy a Connect, which I don't want to do, but obviously because now it's basically the focal point of having an Xbox. I mean, I'm going to have to buy one and just see how it is. So,
yeah.
But aside from all that, they showed some of their games coming up. Mass Effect 3, Ghost Recon, Fable, Halo, CE, and Halo 4, and all these games look pretty good. I mean, Mass Effect 3, I think we were all waiting for it. There's There's not, I mean, at this point, it's just it's a stable. I mean, we wanted it out. We knew it was going to be a big showcase of their event. Looked great. They had some Connect, interaction with it, which,
we almost need to remind people what this Connect activity is with Mass Effect 3.
Quote interaction unquote.
Exactly.
It was awful. I mean, you could. So
the way it works is like this. Okay, so you would use your Connect to read the option line that you would normally just press A on your controller for. So if you're presented a question and it's, the choice is, there is no hope, or maybe we can go this way, you would say that option. And then Shepard would obviously say something completely different because that's part of the script.
Right.
So you're sitting there like a fool saying something when you could have just been quiet and pressed A. The one thing that I could see from the Connect activity is when you're doing the battle sequences, you can use the Connect to tell your teammates like, Garrus fire or Garrus move up and stuff like that, or Talia do this, but at the same time you could always just press left and right in a directional pad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad, and what's to say they couldn't have done this with like a headset?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not like you're doing the motions; it's just voice.
Yeah, it's no motions, and I mean, it's pretty much, like you said, it could be cool in the fights, but I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one, but I feel like if I'm talking to myself, I feel kind of crazy, and call me old-fashioned. I don't want to be, sitting in my room talking to myself, shouting out commands to the TV. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got that's why we have these complicated controllers with 20 buttons on them.
Exactly.
So we can enter in our commands and just be done with it. But we'll see. I mean, it could. Like I said, I will buy a Kinect now because obviously they're putting a lot of focus in it, and I'll buy the Kinect, and I don't think it's going to be worth it, but I could be. I've been proven wrong before, so and I mean with with Dance Central 2 coming out, maybe.
Oh yeah, honestly, that is the selling point for the Kinect. No matter who you ask, Dance Central and all those dancing games for adults is the selling point for a Kinect. That is the ultimate party game for anyone that has an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
You're always going to get some girls at a party to come and play with you on Dance Central because they want to do that, and it's got fun little modes, and they want to bust the moves, see you make a fool of yourself, trying to whatever so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the Kinect doesn't have, its place. I mean, obviously, I think any Kinect specific game, I think, can be good. I mean, Dance Central obviously can be good. They showed that Sesame Street for the children. that looked like it could be good for kids, no doubt about it. But
it is a fun-filled family, family fun moment type of game. So I'll give you that. And then Disneyland was another kid game that was, cool for kids. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that could be good, and I think the Kinect could definitely have their place there. I just don't like to see them forcing. It almost looks like they're forcing the Kinect usage into games like Mass Effect 3 or Ghost Recon, where, I mean,
especially
Kinect worked with it, but do you really need to use Kinect with it? I don't think so. I mean,
especially not Ghost Recon. Steve, you might have to tell some people about what the Kinect control mechanism is with Ghost Recon.
Yeah, well, okay, so they did a little demo where Kinect was going through the menus. Okay, I could see that. If you really want to do hand motion, if you have a controller in your hand, you probably don't want to do hand motions. But, if you want to do hand motions to go through the menu, fine. You could, kind of like Minority Report, like open up the guns and crazy shit like that. But
and the gunsmith mode, yeah.
But they did a demo where you shot using Kinect, and let me tell you, this guy, if he was in an online multiplayer game, was killing nobody. The only thing he'd be doing is throwing his arms up in frustration after, basically missing on how many
anything.
Trying to hit anybody.
You almost hope that they have
pointless.
like a kill counter, a photo that the Kinect takes when you die while you're using the Kinect.
Now, see, that would be good. That would be good.
Catch the rage.
That's the kind of cool stuff they could bring in with the Kinect. Show the rage you get while using the Kinect to everybody else just using the controller,
Oh,
but
man.
so yeah, that was the Microsoft press conference was really all about the Kinect interaction, and personally, I was whatever.
It's not meant for core games. That's just my opinion on it. It's really not meant for core games. They're trying to hype Kinect with core games. And look what happened. You got Fable Journey, which was Fable on rails, essentially. Essentially, it's today's version of the Jurassic Park arcade game.
Yeah, and there was so I'm not going to go much into this because we obviously have no idea what Halo 4 will entail. They showed a cinema scene, and they said it's a new trilogy of games. So presumably there's going to be 3 more Halos. But the rumor had it is, Halo on rails, Kinect interactivity.
Oh, God, no.
Who the hell would want to play that? I'm not saying this is obviously just,
that's a big rumor.
Small talk.
That's a huge rumor, let me tell you. I mean, that's some Shady Milkman level rumor, dude. I mean, you
probably, that could be from Kel himself, but I'm just saying, it looks like a lot of these games were on rails. You just like in the Star Wars demo, you like.
Oh my God!
You just moved forward, and the Kinect would see it as a dash. I mean, it just looked terrible.
And Kinect Sports.
Luckily, for all of us gamers, you will be able to play all these games with the original, well-designed Xbox 360 controller, which is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. So I guess they're trying to bring in this Kinect interaction. I can't see a lot of us hardcore gamers using it. I really can't. But we'll see. We'll see what it does for Xbox's bottom line. So
I think the last thing we should touch on the Microsoft was Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary.
Yeah,
this is actually pretty interesting. What it is it's Halo 1 remastered with the Halo 1 engine for campaign mode. And with up-res graphics and looking more like Halo 3 than Halo 1. And the multiplayer is modeled out using the Reach engine. So that's how that's going to be. And there's 7 multiplayer maps they're going to bring out. And I think it's kind of cool. They're going off for the anniversary on the Halo being released. It's slated to come out November 15th, just like, essentially all Halos have always been coming out. And it could actually be one of those anniversary games that is pretty fun to play because I mean Halo 1
for
was
all
the game
us,
that started everybody on FPS kick on the consoles.
I mean, Halo 1 changed FPSing on console for good. I mean, GoldenEye brought a lot of people into it. Halo just made it an absolute possibility for people to quit playing on PC, which, don't get me wrong, I still love my PC shooters, but it just made it a possibility for a legit FPS to be on PC. I think CE's a definite, the remake is a definite must buy for any Halo fan. Yeah. I think it's going to be phenomenal. They said it's going to be at a reduced price. I don't think they released the price on it.
They said earlier today, I saw something on G4. They're saying it's like $30, $30 or $40.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a full $60.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a guaranteed purchase for any Halo fan.
If you have an Xbox 360, you are buying Halo's Combat Evolved Anniversary.
No doubt.
You are buying it. Just like you bought Halo 3, you are buying this game.
That's going to be good.
Let's switch gears over now to Sony's press conference. And, to sum up their conference, let's just use a borrowed line, living La Vita Loca. The whole it's pretty terrible, I know, but, they stressed on... Awesome. They finally named the NGP, and the NGP is now PS Vita. People were speculating on Vita, and it's now, in fact, true. Kind of silly, but I also didn't like people using NGP because that was Neo Geo Pocket. So let's just, stick with PS Vita.
Which people might not know about Neo Geo Pocket. Hold on, not to break up the Sony conference, but Neo Geo Pocket, awesome. Terrible, great system. Terrible. I guess it just never reached the markets it needed to reach, but
it was definitely not a Western market type of system.
No, it was not. But I guess we'll
same thing with SNK Playmore, but they still push their games out here anyways. You know,
so that could be another podcast in and of itself, which it might be.
It might have to be a little wrap up, history of gaming, if you will. But anyways, the conference started out with Jack Tretton, the CEO of Sony USA, coming out and essentially doing a South Park style BP "we're sorry" type of routine. He not in that jovial manner, but he came out saying that they're sorry that they got hacked, and that they didn't really address sorry for the breach of personal data, but everyone knew what he meant when they said they're sorry about the hacking and the disruption on the service.
Yeah, definitely everybody in that conference knew for sure.
Oh yeah. Even people that don't play games knew about this. You know what I mean? That's how big this was. So he didn't really have to go too much into it. But a lot of people are saying that he shouldn't even talk about it at all. I'm like, no, you still have to address it.
I think it was big. It was big of him to come out and say it. Apparently, it was unscripted. Obviously Sony feels terrible about this. They didn't want to get hacked. Who wants to get hacked? But the reality is they did, and he stepped up and acknowledged it in the biggest conference of the year for sure. And I think it was good. I think it was good.
Yeah, definitely. And, so he came out and apologized for that, letting everybody know that, the PSN is up at 95%, functionality now. And he still is disappointed at that and wants it at 100%, obviously, like everybody else does. But, you can cut the guy some slack. He really, poured out to the people. You know what I mean? Not like, not with tears in his eyes, but, it was really heartteartelt. Even though I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to see
the tears in the eyes would have been phenomenal. That would have,
I was half expecting
world for years.
I was half expecting during that moment that they would have the hacker group come up behind them on the screen. You know what I mean? And just playing like "We Are Legion" or some shit like that. But so they did that, their sorry routine, and then they just went on to show games. Exactly what people came to E3 to see were games. Microsoft kind of failed because they were more Kinect heavy, whereas the gamers didn't really care about that, but Sony was like, no, here are the games. Here are, they start off with Uncharted 3, which is one of their biggest franchises on the PS3. Is, obviously they want to continue the story with Drake in Uncharted 3. So they showed, a teaser of that, and it looks like he's on a cruise ship, and they have for this game they made water physics, and that's their draw, which I was like, okay, you really want to have your draw as water physics, but they showed that game, and it looked kind of cool. It still kind of, to me, it looked just like Uncharted 1 and 2, but obviously there's still more to the game that they're trying to keep on the low until it gets released later on this year.
And I mean, let's just say for the record, Uncharted 1 and 2 were phenomenal games, and highly rated. So I mean, it's kind of a formula you don't have to mess with too much. But
but you know me, I always want a little more. With a new game, especially if it's in a continuation of the series, you always want that little bit more. Even though we got Connect commands for Mass Effect 3, but there's still time. But anyways. So they showed Uncharted 3. It looked pretty amazing. Continues the story, so everyone that follows 1 and 2 is going to, love to see what kind of trouble, Drake's going to get himself out of this time. And then they jumped off and they showed some Infamous 2, and it continues on the story from that, and it looked, amazing, just like the first game. And then they really got into something that was really cool, something you haven't seen from Sony for almost a decade, and they brought back their IP of Sly Cooper with Sly Cooper Thieves of Time, and this looked pretty damn cool. It's a platforming stealth type of game for those that don't know Sly Cooper franchise, and they just showed a quick 30-second video of it, and it looked like it was a fun game to play. It brought you back to Rayman or Mario type of platformings, or Crash Bandicoot.
Right.
It gave you that that feeling. So I was like, that's a fun game. That's gonna be a good fun game to play. Then to just keep the wheel and wheels in motion on that effect, they announced that they're going to be remastering the God of War PSP titles, Chains of Olympus and Ghosts of Sparta.
Mm-hmm.
And the remastering of that is they're going to obviously update the graphics and bring it over to the PlayStation 3. And as well as 3D vision ready on that. So if you have a 3D TV and it's all set up, you can play these God of War remastered titles on that. So it's going to be titled God of War Origins, and it's going to be coming out. I don't think they said when it's coming out, but it's probably going to be later this year.
Right.
Then they also, to keep the wheels going again, two of their biggest franchises or IPs rather, on PlayStation 2 were ICO and Shadow of the Colossus. And they're remastering those and bringing those on to PS3 as well. So that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves their Shadows of the Colossus. That's for damn sure.
It was a short game, but it was an amazing game.
No, and groundbreaking in plenty of ways. So,
yeah. So, I mean, I'm hyped for that. I played the God of War games on the PSP, and I thought they were really damn cool. And I can just imagine them coming out to the PS3, because now you can use two analogs and instead of one analog, of course, and you get those updated graphics, and it's just going to be pretty freaking sweet to look at, to play through those games again. So then, obviously, showing all these different games, they had to give the big draw. The NGP was officially released and announced as the PS Vita. And this thing is one hell of a handheld. I mean, it almost made me regret buying that 3DS that I got when I saw the specs and what it was capable of doing in terms of games and things of that nature. And before I jump into that, one of the things they also announced, I just want to backtrack a quick second, was a service called PlayStation Suite, and this will tie into the Vita. Now, what the PlayStation Suite is their cloud service type of. It's a cloud service. It's a cloud type of service. What that means is you can take downloadable content like movies or videos and what have you that you might get from the PSN store on your PlayStation 3, and then share that across the board with the Vita or mobile devices or tablets, all at once. So that's pretty cool, and it didn't seem like there's a price tag associated with that. So it might be free for the users, just like everything else Sony's doing. So that's something to look forward to. So obviously now with the PS Vita, that's one of the things that it has going for it. The other thing that it has going for it, obviously, is their transferring system. What that is you will be able to, let's say you start a game on a Vita. You can, and you're like, okay, I'm on the go, and then I'm like, I'm going to go home or I'm going to go to the living room and I want to continue this game. You can then transfer that that state that you were at to your PS3 and continue playing it right on your couch. So that's a pretty sweet setup.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome.
And like vice versa. So then you say, all right, I'm done playing on the couch. Let me go set this up on my PS Vita and check it out later. Boom, you can do that too. So that's kind of cool. Now, the one thing I'm wondering is, do you have to have your PS3 on the whole time? You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm wondering about this whole thing. Because you know how these systems are.
We'll definitely see. But
yeah.
No, I definitely agree with you. I mean, the PS Vita looks like an amazing system. I mean, I know, both of us are really big fans of. Were really big fans of the PSP, still are. I think it was an amazing system, an underrated system. Never quite got the love it needed, but I think this PS Vista looks amazing. The graphics on the system are amazing. It has a touch screen. I think it's really going to appeal to the hardcore gamers looking for a portable system. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's got touchscreen capabilities. It has an OLED display, which is very bright, very sleek, very amazing results from that. It's got the shoulder buttons, 2 analog sticks. It's got a rear back sensor that you can use to affect games like in Mod Nation Racer or whatever they're going to decide to call it. You can tap the back to do make mountains in the terrain and things of that nature. You can manipulate the environment. You know, I mean, it has so much going for it that you know, it's going to be amazing to see what comes out of it, the library and the launch systems.
Right. No, I completely agree. Well, I think you know, now really the only thing left to cover, you know, which many people predicted.
Before we move on to that, one other thing is they announced the price for this thing. There's two versions of this PS Vita. There's a Wi-Fi version and there's a 3G version. The Wi-Fi version is going to be $249, and the 3G version is going to be $299, with the 3G service being through AT&T. So that's a lot of people. Like, it was funny when they announced the $299 for it. People were clapping, and then once they showed AT&T, like, people went dead silent, like almost like disgust.
I mean, who else are they going to go through? They're going to go through the Death Star. Who doesn't go through the Death Star for the 3G service?
Pretty much, you know.
I mean, whatever. You know, this kind of system, you're going to use Wi-Fi. I don't know. 3G could be okay, but we'll see. Well, we'll see what
the whole cloud system or the PS Suite, that's the only reason I can see them using 3G. You know, browse on the go, watch movies on the go, whatever. Because obviously, they're definitely going to have to bring Netflix to the thing. You know, so
yeah. Well, I think it's gonna be pretty good. But all in all,
Sony's was all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So I guess that leaves us with Nintendo, which, like I was saying, a lot of people predicted this to be the biggest of the big three. A lot of people thought plenty of big things were coming from Nintendo, and it was going to kind of shake the gaming world. Which, to Nintendo's, credit, they always do bring plenty of innovative ideas and really, bring new things to the gaming world. But
I mean, without them, there would be no Connect or Move, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Which I can't say. I can't say I'm thankful for that, but whatever. It's there. We're dealing with it. So, anyways, they had their conference, and what we're using to sum that up is basically it's all about the Wii U. It was all about the Wii U.
Who, me or you? It's Wii U. It sounds like a siren, like a Ghostbuster Ecto 1 coming down the street. Wii U, Wii U.
Yeah, it's an awful fucking name. We know it. They know it. I think even Nintendo has admitted it at this point. When watching the press conference of Reggie, he was like, "Yeah, this called Wii U." Like, he just kind of admitted.
That was a funny, little interview that he had going.
It was almost like he admitted defeat on that one. He's like, "Look, we wanted to call it whatever, but it's the Wii U. Deal with it."
Exactly. But, I wish they had to deal with the shades going on in the backdrop, dude. That would have been something.
Yeah. But it was about the Wii. So, they started with the Skyward Sword, Legend of Zelda.
Dude, how cool was that, though? Because they had that orchestra playing all the Zelda music. I mean, call me what you will, but I'm a big fan of that orchestrated Zelda music.
It was good. It was good.
And in Skyward Sword, they're going to have that orchestrated soundtrack. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool.
No, that's cool. I mean, I could have used, well, I don't know. Never mind.
Hey, look, let's not forget that Shigeru Miyamoto loves getting items from a chest.
And he loves getting translated. You know damn well he could speak a perfectly fine English conversation with you. If
he's the king of trolls in the gaming industry, dude.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, he'll come out and get a translator. It's all good.
He brings motion gaming and then goes right back to the controller.
No. The big thing about this press conference was the Wii U and the 3DS. And and I think they honestly showed a lot of promising things for the 3DS. They showed the trailers for their 5 IPs. They had Kid Icarus, which looked unbelievable. I mean, that honestly was probably my favorite thing. From the whole Nintendo conference was the Kid Icarus 3DS.
Funny thing on that, though, real quick, is that looked a lot different than when they first showed Kid Icarus 3DS.
Did it?
Yeah, it looked like they added more to it. So that got me even more hype.
Yeah, man. I mean, it looked amazing. It looked amazing. It kind of looked like a Ninja Gaiden with a little bit of flying, and it was like the online looked like that old Sega VR game where you can dash towards
the VR
opponent.
twins. Yeah.
Yeah, hit them up in the air. I mean, it looked really good, really good. They showed their Super Mario 3D, obviously, Star Fox 3D, Luigi's Mansion, and Mario Kart. I mean, really, all of Nintendo's solid IPs, minus maybe Metroid or whatever.
Or Donkey Kong.
Or Donkey Kong. But, they showed that they had a 3DS game about to be released real soon for the system. And, I mean, they all looked amazing. Like, all of them looked... I can't say a bad thing about any of them. And I'm not even a big 3DS supporter. I honestly am not. I don't have a 3DS. I was all about PSP over Nintendo's handheld, but these games look pretty fun. So
yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to add is I have a 3DS, and I'm not really that biased with it. I love it, but I'm also aware that it's not. I wouldn't say it's the core gamer's choice of a handheld. You know what I mean?
Right.
It has some cool functionality, but I'm not going to be like, oh my god, 3DS until I die. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but I went to the eShop, which was released last night, and I downloaded the trailers for the movies of all those games that they showed: Mario Kart, Kid Icarus, Mario 3D, Star Fox, Luigi's Mansion 2, as well as there's a bunch more that they didn't show that are coming out, like Ocarina of Time remake that's coming out next week. Well, they kind of touched on that a little bit, but it wasn't like their focal point for their games coming out. But anyways, I looked at the Mario 3D because I was interested in that. Because from the video, it looked that they showed at E3 on the conference on TV, it looked like it was a Mario 64 all over again, but it had that kind of charm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I went and loaded on 3D. I downloaded it from the eShop, and you can view those videos in 3D on a 3DS. And the gameplay with that just looked amazing. I mean, it blew my mind, honestly. Mm-hmm. And it was a game that I really wanted to play the second I saw it. And much like the rest of those games, when I looked at the video trailers for on a 3DS in 3D, I'm willing to endure the 3D headache just to play those games in full max slider 3D. Let's put it that way.
As long as it doesn't cause brain cancer or something, then
I heard breathing causes that these days. I'm just saying.
Yeah, definitely cell phones, but No, I agree. I mean, they all looked phenomenal. Not even looking at the 3D. I just thought they looked like they were well done games, well done, rehashes or whatever of their IPs, and they look great. So if 3D is all it's supposed to be, then that's just a little icing on the cake. That is probably going to be some very, very awesome games. So yeah. I can't wait till those come out.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But so also after the 3DS display, they went straight to what everyone was looking for. Well, kinda.
Yeah, everybody knew it was coming. I think
knew it was coming, but what they did was kind of not what people expected for the full scope. They went and they unleashed the new Project Cafe controller for the system, and it's called Wii U, as we just said earlier. Wii U. That's what it's called. Start getting used to it. I don't know if it's going to change. We all hope it does, but it's coming out next year. Yeah. Anyways, so they showcased the capabilities of the Wii U controller, and it has sort of like that transferring type of scenario that the PS3 has with the Vita, but it's different. You can actually use both the controller and the Wii U, console at the same time for these games, and the 6-inch screen on the controller will be used as like sub menus or a map or things like that, as well as you can disconnect from the console and the TV and play the games on the controller, the 6-inch screen. Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool. For that standpoint, that's pretty cool. Just like the Vita style type of thing on the Wii U. So obviously it's targeted for people that they're playing a game and the kids and their moms comes in like, turn the shit off, I'm trying to watch something else, and they don't want to stop playing. Boom, switch it over to the controller. You can play right there. Right. Or someone comes in and says, I want to watch this and my show is on, you only have one TV, switch it over to the controller. That's kind of cool. And it's got, like, 2 cameras, so you can do video chat on there. That's pretty cool for a non-gaming standpoint. It makes me wonder what kind of integration they're going to have with their titles, but it's cool that they had that functionality. And it's going to have, obviously it has a Wiimote sensor on it because it's backwards compatible with the Wii. So some of those games, like the golf games and stuff like that might come out with on the Wii, you can then use the Wii U controller on the ground as like a putting tee. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or a driving tee and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool the innovation that they have going with that in terms of also backwards compatibility. But it looked like a solid controller. It has 2 dual analog sticks. It's got all the buttons you need for like a fighting game or an FPS on there. So there's reports that it doesn't feel as bad as you might think it would feel in your hands, just from looking at a picture of it. And I'm anxious to try it out.
Definitely, dude. I mean, it probably just feels like a big ass Xbox controller, man. Like a big ass controller. But I mean, I'm sure you can get used to it. It looked like the the analog, the D-pad were all in the right place. There's just more real estate in the middle because of the touchscreen. But I bet in and of itself as a controller, not that bad. That'd be my guess.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the controller was amazing. I mean, obviously there was so much functionality that you can do with a 6-inch touchscreen, in a controller, and I'm sure the innovation. Yeah, microphone, video, cameras,
2 speakers.
I mean, I'm sure the innovation hasn't even begun for this thing. But I mean, also the big thing they showed here, because again, I mean, you can't let the 6-inch touchscreen fool you. This was a fully fledged controller. It had it had a D-pad. It had, I think, 2 analogs, 4 buttons up front, 4 triggers. So left, right, L1, R1, whatever. Start, home. I mean, it was a full-fledged controller. So with the new system, the Wii U, and its updated graphics, it looks like they're actually going to get some, for the first time in a long time, very quality third-party games. Games that are coming out on the 360 or the PS3 will now come to the new Wii U.
Exactly.
Like, Ninja Gaiden 3, Ghost Recon, Battlefield. I mean,
3,
They said Arcane Asylum. We didn't see video of that, but they said
they showed a quick glimpse of Arkham Asylum.
Did they?
Yeah, they showed a quick glimpse of it. And one of the things I heard is after the fact, I heard that those were renders of the games on other systems.
Yeah.
But they're coming to the Wii U, whatever it's called. So it's that part right there got me a little skeptical. Because at this point, it's on Nintendo's shoulders to give me a reason why I should buy it. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, if you already own a PS3 or a 360 and you own a Wii, presumably, but maybe not, why would you buy? Why would you buy the Wii U? Why? I mean, obviously, the new third-party games coming to the Wii U are awesome, but why not just buy them on the 360?
360, yeah.
The PS3.
PS3.
I mean,
or PC even, yeah.
Right. Obviously, you always have Nintendo's titles, but we didn't really get to see, what's coming out for the Wii U exclusively from Nintendo.
Right. They had like a Zelda type of preview. They don't call them tech demos; they call them concepts or whatever the hell it is.
It was a tech demo.
Please don't
it was a tech demo.
Hey, don't tell Reggie that, all right?
Right. Hey. But, they had that, and I mean, I think my big concern was they didn't show what they were going to do with the online play. Obviously that's so huge in today's gaming. You can take almost Xbox Live or PSN for granted, but look at how far behind Nintendo is, and I mean. As innovative as a company as they are and what they could bring to online gaming, if they were more focused on it, would probably be amazing. But I feel like their focus has almost never really been on online gaming, hopefully, because of everything they've learned from their first, from the Wii or GameCube with the Ethernet adapter. I mean, hopefully from everything they've learned, this system will have quality online gaming. I hope.
And no friend codes. Let's just say that now. No friend codes. That was the worst system that they had for the Wii.
Yeah, terrible idea.
They still have it on the 3DS, but you can still do online play without needing a freaking friend code. So that's good.
Right.
But just like they did with the Mario Kart and the Wii. If they can keep that kind of notion going, that's pretty sweet. But yeah, like you said, I think they should just use PSN as a ground framework as an online play and just build that up.
Yeah, I think PSN's pretty solid. It's a pretty standard. Now, I mean, PSN kind of, at least when it first came out, watered down a little bit of what Xbox Live had, but was able to offer, quality online gaming, friend codes, messages. I mean, you don't need to go as balls to the wall as, say, an Xbox Live. Xbox Live has been around for a long time. It's very well established. The jump between Xbox One and the 360, as far as Live is concerned, was huge. So Xbox Live has been around for a while. PSN, when it first came out, a little rough around the edges, but through constant system updates, I mean, now it's grown to be a very solid, network. So hopefully, Nintendo could just grasp some of that and bring forward a good online service, because I think in this day and age, without one, you're SOL. I mean, you really are.
You're done. If you can't, especially to the core gamers, which they're trying to reach out to now, you need to have a solid online play, system. Yeah. So,
but
at least they promised us Smash Brothers for 3DS and Wii U. That's got to be something.
I'm excited.
Even though they said they're not going to make any more, but they promised us.
Everyone loves them some good Smash Brothers. I know I do. Can't wait for a new one. We'll play it. We'll buy it. Definitely nothing bad to say about Smash Brothers. So D, I got to ask you here, man. Now that this is basically a wrap up of all three of the big three, which company do you think really brought the most to this year's E3, and which company do you think is really poised to have a good year coming up?
It's kind of two different. Yeah, it's two different companies at that point. Each one of your questions is two different companies. I think this company surprisingly that had the show this year is the Sony. I would say Sony for the PS Vita. To be quite honest, because the games and the system and the hack, you can laugh about all that stuff, the hacking and all that. But the games they're coming out with are solid games that they're well established for. They still look amazing, and they're not really trying to force in move controls with everything. There'll be move controls in Battlefield, of course, and there'll be move controls with their move type games, but they're focusing on their games that they have out there. They're bringing back IP that people loved. There's a rumor that the Final Fantasy VII remake is going to be on the Vita. That would be kind of cool if that's the case.
Awesome.
And the Vita is something that is a handheld that will give Nintendo a real challenge, and that's what I want. And because of that, that's the winner for me. We don't want just one dominant thing for the handhelds. And honestly, I wish Microsoft would get into the handheld market, because I think they would blow both of them out the water.
They could do a good job, I'm sure.
But for this year's press conferences on E3, I think Sony won the events. Kinect was a failure. That whole Microsoft thing, I wasn't a fan of that. It might work for other people, but they could have just done without that.
Right.
Wasn't too hyped for Gears 3, to be quite honest. It just looked like Gears 2 with more stuff and what you expect. But Sony took this one. But for what is, having good things to come, Nintendo. I'll say that much. Because Nintendo, they got the Wii U. There's so much they can do about it. And if they do all the networking and ensuring that you can have an external hard drive, which is what the sound of it is, on the Wii U console, and giving us more information on the console, I think they're the innovative person. And they're always the trendsetter, really, Nintendo, in terms of gaming innovation. Look at what they did with the Wii. You know what I mean? This is technology that they've essentially had way back in the Nintendo days, just spruced up. And that's just, wow. if Apple's worried about some people for their handheld market, it'll be Nintendo, and now hopefully Sony. But Nintendo's got the innovation on side going for it. So, in the same token now, Steve, let me turn that question around to you. Who do you think won, and who do you think is going to bring the innovation?
I'm pretty much agree with you on both counts. I think, first off, I would agree with you, and I'm sure you feel the same way that Microsoft didn't bring it for E3. It was a pretty bad display from their company, but I'm pretty sure we would both agree that Microsoft probably had the least to prove this E3 also. I mean, right now they're sitting
100%,
pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, by far, at least in my opinion, and I could catch flack for this, but by far the best console right now. Very well rounded. They've been bringing updates constantly, and they're just really good. So it looks like the focus on Kinect didn't really connect with me, but But they're a good console. I mean, I think we all still love the Xbox. We're still going to play the Xbox throughout the year. I think as far as innovations they're bringing, didn't show much new at E3. Sony had a solid showing. I think, the big hack crisis they were having, they had to really pull something good together here to show their users, a lot of whom have, some of whom have lost faith. I mean, PSN was down for a month. I mean, or whatever, a few weeks. I mean, that's real big, real big. But I think, they showed that they've been the one system that's been consistently growing, in my opinion. I feel like the PS3 kind of came out a little behind maybe the Xbox. The PSN wasn't quite as good, but Sony has been constantly updating their system, and I think right now they're hitting their stride. I mean, I think this is going to be their year. You got Uncharted 3, Infamous 2. We didn't talk about it yet, but they're showing a little bit of their new Twisted Metal. I mean, it really looks like they're bringing up some of their IPs. Things are looking amazing from this year's standpoint, and the NGP is just looking like, in my opinion, just the right move they could have taken with portable gaming. Nintendo was a pretty amazing. Honestly, Nintendo was really good. I know a lot of people have been hating on Nintendo's press conference, but no, I think it was pretty good, man. I think it's kind of like a to be determined. They're just like they're a little far behind at this point. You got the PS3 and the Xbox are pretty even. They have very big fan bases. Not to say Nintendo doesn't, but they have their next gen games. They have their HD graphics already. They have pretty respectable online services, and it looks like this new Nintendo system is really trying to catch up. And I mean, it almost looks like they're trying to hide it with this new controller, But I mean, in the end, it's like, what's going to make me buy this? I already have a 360, I have a PS3, and I have a Wii. Why am I going to buy the Wii U? What is it really going to bring to the table that I don't have in these other two systems? And I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks great, but just from that standpoint, I'm not sure. Now, I will say on Nintendo's other aspect, the 3DS did look phenomenal. Like I said earlier, I'm not a big, I don't have a 3DS. I don't have a 3, I didn't even have their last system, handheld system, but
DS.
Right. Sorry, the DS. But the 3DS looked pretty impressive, man. It really did. It has some very good games. It looked like it has a good lineup coming out. They showed a bunch of their third-party games also, which look pretty good. But obviously with Nintendo, I'm about their IPs. I mean, they've always been good. And that's the thing.
Grew
Nintendo
up with
has,
them, right? So
yeah, right. Nintendo's always had great exclusive IPs. The thing I'm just worried about is it worth it for me to buy a Wii U for their new exclusive IPs? I mean, is it worth it for me to buy it for their awesome third-party games? Probably not, because I could already get those games elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I think. I agree with you. I think Sony kind of stole this one. I think, they kind of came in under the radar. They just didn't do anything too fancy, but they had a very solid showing. We all knew the NGP, or now the PS Vita was coming out, but I think that turned a lot of heads. I think they've just continued to get better. I think Sony has not taken too many chances. They've just continued to get better, and I think this year is going to be a very big year for them.
Well, their consoles run on the 8-year or 10-year plan? So
yeah, 10-year plan. I mean, it's just hitting its stride now, man.
Yeah,
and I hope so, and I do hope so. I think we all love Sony. They changed gaming with the PlayStation 2, and PS3 really got off to a slow start. But I think it's coming around, man. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. I think that probably wraps it up for our podcast.
So thank you all for listening to our first ever podcast. We would love to do this. We're going to try to make it a weekly thing because I know just me and Dee, we just enjoy doing this. So hopefully you all have enjoyed listening to it even a quarter as much as we've enjoyed doing it.
Exactly. So this is DeeApeEscape and DroppinLoot from Noob Alert, and we'll catch you guys later.
Mm-hmm.